What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 6, Grab a Beer with GraySquare, featuring Mr. Jonathan Cannon himself,
How you
one
doing?
and only CEO
Definitely.
of Cannon Consulting.
Yes, sir.
This is our first time interviewing somebody outside of our internal team, so we're happy to have you on, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you for inviting me, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously. You know, I watch your videos all the time, dude.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's so dope that I'm actually on one of these.
I appreciate it, man. We try to have some fun with this. So,
Definitely.
So you guys can get to know Mr. Cannon a little bit better. Again, he's the CEO of Cannon Consulting. He's been a personal friend and business associate of mine for a little over a year at this point.
Yeah.
Seen him do some really awesome stuff with his business, and I thought he'd be a good guest to have on to just talk about entrepreneurship, talk about his story, just get people familiar with another entrepreneur that's doing some big things. So let's get it started, man. So let's start by, tell us a little about yourself, your personal background, where you're from, what got you out here. We can get into your business a little bit later. So just tell us about you, man.
Dope. All right, so my name is Jonathan Cannon. How you guys doing? So I'm from Chicago, Illinois, hence why I'm drinking 312 Goose Island beer.
We're going to start doing beers based on the city somebody's from. Thanks for starting that tradition, too.
Yes.
312 Goose Island, represent.
Goose Island needs to give us an endorsement, bro.
I know.
Yes,
we could take a free beer or two from them.
Definitely. So my name is John. Friends call me Josh. But from Chicago, Illinois, born and raised. I moved to Baltimore a little bit over a year ago.
Okay.
But mostly, man, I'm from the west side of Chicago. Started off in the mud.
What were you into in Chicago? What were some of your hobbies that you got into in Chicago?
Yeah, so I was definitely the black sheep, you know what I mean? So I skateboarded for 14 years,
Okay.
I'm talking about tray flips, all that stuff, you know what I mean?
Over my head, man.
That's who I was. Definitely, man. I always was into music real hard.
Okay.
Super diehard Cubs fan, all right? Diehard.
Still?
All right? To this day.
You can switch to those.
Yes, man. There's no way. No way. Why would I do that? No.
Try to sneak that in.
No, I will be at every Cubs game, and especially the ones against the O's. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But yeah, man, I skateboarded most of my life. Didn't study marketing or anything like that. Didn't study sales.
Didn't go to business school, any of that?
Nah, I was more of those people that kind of fell into stuff.
Okay.
So, I moved around quite a bit growing up. Minnesota, Kentucky, Naperville, Plainfield. Shout out to Plainfield Central class of 2009. All right, because guess what? Nobody liked me. You know what I mean? Sure. But it's all good.
So out of all these places that you lived, outside of Chicago, obviously I know you're biased.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place that you spent time in outside of Chicago?
Atlanta, Georgia, hands down. Atlanta, Georgia is the place to be, man.
Okay.
Realistically, man, I grew up in Chicagoland area, but I really became who I am in Georgia.
Okay.
That's where.
How old were you when you moved to Chicago?
I was when I moved from Chicago.
I mean, excuse me. Yeah, out of Chicago.
Out of Chicago, I was 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then started bouncing around from there.
Yeah, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Georgia. And then back to Chicago because you always end up where you're supposed to end up at.
Sure.
Definitely.
So before you got into running your own business, which we'll get to, what type of work were you doing? What were you doing before this?
So I was a mechanic, man. I'm gonna be real. I was a mechanic. I worked at Firestone Complete Auto Care right off of South Cobb Parkway in Marietta, Georgia.
Okay.
And then I also worked at Firestone off of Cicero and 22nd. My real Chicago people gonna know what I'm talking about. At that Firestone before they actually closed it down, man. Yeah, it was crazy.
So tell me about the leap from. It's a big leap, obviously, going from working on cars to getting into business.
It's a couple of things. It's a couple of things. I knew one thing.
Was there a catalyst?
There was.
Yeah.
I wanted to be somebody. I've always wanted to be somebody. And I love cars, so hence why I got into that. But the lifestyle that a mechanic has isn't the ideal one that I would really want for myself. I'll never forget, I went into work one day, regular day, got off of the bus, walked up a block, got into Firestone, I had my uniform on, ready. I already got a ticket on the board You know,
Yeah.
it's an oil change and a brake job, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm actually doing the oil change. You know, I'm taking off of the drain plug and everything. I'm catching the oil in the oil bin. And I don't know, man. Like, I looked around and I was just like, this is my life,
Sure.
you know? And I'm not knocking anybody that's in the automotive repair spot, you know, because at the end of the day, man, that's hard work, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And I don't think they get the recognition that they deserve, but I needed something else. I looked at a guy, he was 50 years old, man, and I just looked at his life and I said,
Yeah.
this scared me, dude. Yeah, I'm just be frank, it scared
Sure.
me. I was like, that's me in the future, you know, and that's literally me in the future. And I got scared, man, and then I started looking around at other aspects, you know, the cars they're driving, you know, the lifestyle, just the lifestyle that they were living. And I was just like, this can't be it. Like,
Sure.
I'm 23 at the time, bro. This can't be it, you know? And I'll never forget, man. And I don't recommend anybody doing this, but I put the drain plug on. I finished the job real quick. I put the ticket on the board, went to my box, I locked it.
Yeah.
I went to my manager and I said, I'm done. And he looked baffled, and I was just like, I gotta do this, you know? Like, and I got on the bus. I didn't go home because my grandpa, because at the time I was staying with my grandfather.
Right.
He would kill me.
If you just bounce on a job
guy.
and then...
Yes, he's an
Sure.
old-fashioned guy. You
Sure.
work, you take care of your family, you work these blue-collar jobs,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and hopefully you have a pension at the end of the year.
Right.
Like that's where he came up and he was able to successfully raise a beautiful family that I'm part of, you know.
Yeah.
I have very successful aunts and uncles, you know, but like that's his mindset. So I got on the bus and I was scared. So the first person I went to was my friend Jerry's house, right?
Okay.
Because Jerry's cool. I grew up with him in Plainfield. He moved to Chicago. I lived in Chicago. It was like, hey,
Yeah.
we can reconnect, you know?
Right.
Knock on his door. Bam, 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 bam. He's like, hey, who is it? And I was like, it's John. He was like, oh, what's up? I was like, hey.
It's 2 in the afternoon. What are you
It's 2 in
doing?
the afternoon. Hey, I don't have a job anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so he's a very supportive guy. Jerry's suspect, man. We don't talk as much as we used to anymore, but like,
Yeah.
seriously, he opened up his house when
That's
things were
awesome.
going hard for me, bro.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a job, and the first thing he did is he pulled out his computer, and we went on Monster, Career Builder, and everything.
Yeah.
And I got an interview the next day. You know.
No kidding.
So
So
kind
you-
of fell
you-
into it.
So you went from that job to getting into business, or more like traditional business, I think is what most people would look at it.
Yeah.
What made you go that route? I mean, obviously there's, you know, it's understandable seeing a path that you were going on and wanting something different and wanting the end result to be, you know, a better lifestyle. But there's a million ways you can go to do that.
Yeah.
What made you get into the path that you did? Was it something about your personality? Like, was it something
Yeah,
that-
it was. I fell into it, right? It was basic sales, right? So I fell
Sure.
into it, and pretty much what happened was, I just kind of realized, you know, like at first I was like, I've never done this. You know what I mean? I'm not a like
Yeah.
social person. Like I
Sure.
skateboarded, dude. Like I skateboarded. You don't need anybody else to skateboard. I worked on cars. I don't
you
need to
and the-
talk to anybody. I work on my car and I put it down. I put it off the rack and I pull it out and we keep on going. You know?
Right.
But you know what? If I was not happy with where I was at, I had to change something. What's the definition of insanity? Doing
Sure.
the same thing over and over again and expecting something to change. So I
Right.
was like, you know what, man? What do I have to lose, bro? Seriously, what do I have to lose?
And then just dove in.
And I just dove in, bro. You know what I mean? I just
that's
completely dove in. And pretty much, you know, I realized over time that like I had a niche for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I had a real niche for this. And when I realized that I had a niche for this, I was like, I started looking around and I was like, wow, like these guys are the same age as me. You know,
Sure.
like they're the same age as me. And they're living way better than me.
Right.
You know, like the energy, you're going out to the bars and like socializing, like that was new to me. You know,
Yeah.
it was like a culture shock. And I was like, dude, I love this. But more importantly, they were living better than I was. And
Right.
that right there was the big thing. Because I was on the west side, you know, Lockwood and Lake, man. If you're from Chicago, you know where that's at. You know, it's not the best neighborhood.
Sure.
You know, for me to go to a place like Jefferson Park over on the north side where it's like, you know, middle class, upper class area, being around people from that area, it's like, okay, this is a big culture shock.
Right.
And then at that point I realized that, okay, I may have something here. So I dove in and I realized that not only was this something new, but I actually have the gift of gab. You know, and I was realizing that I'm
fair to
kind
say.
of moving up. Thank you so much. You know, but like, and I was like, okay, wow, dude, like I can really do this, you know? And I didn't take it serious, like sales wise or
Right.
anything yet. I was more doing it for the personality and the culture change. You know, my biggest thing was like, I want to live like them. There's a guy,
Right.
Casey Rust. I know you're watching this, bro. I saw how you were living in Uptown and it changed my life, bro. Straight up, he let me come into his house and he
Sure.
had a studio in Uptown and a high rise. I've never been in a high rise, you
Yeah.
know? And literally, I'm looking, I'm like, wow. Like, this guy is doing the same thing I'm doing and he's living like this. He's not worried about money, you know. I'm over here like not looking at my bank account, you know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right,
oh
yeah.
my God, I don't know how much money I have, you know
Sure,
what I mean?
sure.
And literally, man, like that changed my life. And I was in it because I just wanted to sharpen my personality. I've always been that guy that had a lot to say, but never really had the courage to say it, you know. And that kind of held me back a lot in life, you know.
Yeah.
And I saw this as an opportunity to actually change that about myself. So I dove in, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until
That's
over
awesome.
time that I got really good. You know, start passing people up, and you know, start really maxing
moving
out.
your way up.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's that, and I appreciate you giving me all that, man. That's good stuff. So you get into this new world, you get good at it, you work your way up the ladder, you put yourself in a little bit better of a position.
Definitely.
I think a lot of people can relate to that side of it, of making a change, kind of having a bit of a come up. But I think that's where a lot of people get complacent. You know,
Yeah.
there's a certain level of income, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's like once you reach that plateau, it's hard to be there because you're doing well enough to where you don't need any more to get by. So it's hard to make changes because you always have to take a step back.
Well,
you got yourself in a position where you were in that spot, you were doing well, you had already started to see forward progression in a good path. Why go out on your own and take more steps back and why go out on your own? Because I think it's a problem a lot of potential entrepreneurs face, is that I got a good job, I got a good thing going, why go out on my own when I have stability? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that, and the crazy thing is, like, most people would have to make what, like $50,000 a year in order to feel like that, I'm good.
Depending on the part of the country, sure.
Compared where I came from,
Yeah.
dude, just not being able to look at my bank account, and not worried about, okay, when this next bill is due. Like, that
Sure.
was my level of content right there.
Sure.
And it was very low, like I was cool making $300 a week. I was making $5 at one point. I was like, okay,
Right.
But after I'd done that and I was able to save a little bit of money and everything, you're right. You do get to that point.
Yeah.
And I feel like the transition for me was, well, let me paint a picture for you, okay? I'm on the
Sure.
west side of Chicago, okay?
Sure.
3 weeks after I start this job, I'm in Lincoln Park, the richest part of Chicago, in a really nice crib.
Right.
I'm in the city. I'm in the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the real part of the city I've always wanted to be on. And I was cool. I was living life. I'm not gonna lie. I know
Yeah.
my mom probably ain't trying to hear that, but
Sure.
but like I was living
Enjoying
life, dude.
yourself,
I was
having a good
enjoying
time.
my life, man. I was
Right.
23 years old, man. I was enjoying my life, dude. But I'll never forget this. I was drinking. I'm not alcoholic or anything. Like, I was just
Sure.
drinking, like just
Sure.
potentially. And I went on the porch and I was feeling good. And I was looking at the stars and I was looking around. And I had realized I had reached my plateau. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, right.
I was there. I felt grateful and blessed that I was able to change my living situation, but something told me that this is just the beginning. See, I'm experienced to a new type of world now,
Right.
where there isn't homeless people on the side, where you're not worried about looking over your back when you're getting on the L. You know what I mean? So like, I had realized I was happy because I was like, dude, like I'm not there anymore. But then I realized that I could do better than this. And
That set you off to go on your own.
I had an epiphany, bro. And I don't know if anybody's ever had an epiphany, but it can be very strong sometimes. It's like a rush of emotions and just realization, and that's what I had, man. Like, I realized that I actually have an opportunity to really make something out of my life.
Right.
And when you think about it like that, like, there is no ceiling. Does that make sense?
No, that's awesome.
Like
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
no ceiling, bro.
Right.
So why marginalize myself in an aspect where I'm still taking orders when I have the experience and the charisma and the tenacity to keep it going, you know? But then there's also another side. That's gonna take a lot of work.
Right.
Not everybody's gonna see what I see.
Sure.
So I had to get ready for that, you know? And also, if I give this everything I possibly have, this literally measures the type of person I am, like what I'm truly capable of. And that's scary by itself.
Oh yeah,
you know?
to be confronted with that.
Being confronted, like, okay, I have an opportunity to really see how far I go, you know?
Right.
And I asked myself, I was like, I weighed out what's the negatives, what's the positives, and it turns out the positives were way better than the negatives. And I said, let's do this.
Yeah.
I said, I'm doing this, you know what I mean? And I knew that once I did this, there's no turning back, you know, there's no more turning back.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'll never forget it. It was like everything was just, I just knew what I had to do.
Sure.
I just knew what I had to do, you know? Break barriers, just knew what I had to do. And I wanted it bad, man. You know,
Just went for it.
At that point, I wanted it real bad, like
Right.
really bad. You know, like I'm looking at, like I live across the street from a house that's $4 million, you
Sure.
know? And I'm like, I can have that. See, and that's the thing. We live in a capitalistic society where it's like, dude, we can do this. You know, I'm taking advantage of it. You know,
Right.
I've been suppressed for so long, and I've seen people that I love work so hard to get so little just to get by. I have an opportunity where I can work equally as hard, if not more, and get way farther than them.
Yeah, sure.
And I saw that, and I took at it, and I realized, you know what? There's no turning back. And at that point, I got tunnel vision. At that point, and you can ask anybody.
And things started moving.
I just knew what I needed to do, man.
Yeah.
Like it was literally just, I don't know. It's crazy, you know. I'm blessed, bro, because
Yeah.
like I have that same tenacity to this day. That was 6 years ago, man.
Sure.
I have that same tenacity right now as we speak, you know, and that pushes me, you know. And that was my turning point, bro. Like
Yeah.
just realizing like what you're truly capable of. You know?
That's great, man. I appreciate you painting the picture for us.
Definitely.
So we got a little promo, obviously. Tell us about your business. Tell us about Cannon Consulting Services, what you offer for your clients, and what type of business you're in.
So Cannon Consulting Services is a marketing consulting, but not just marketing, but also consulting service. What we do is we take clients and we actually put them in a position where they can actually utilize my sales team, marketing team, SEO team, whatever, real estate team, everything, in order to actually achieve the results that they're trying to push. So right now we have a big client right now, a multinational client, right? They're go to bat for them. What we do for our clients is that we really give you everything that we possibly can. Our resources are now your resources. Okay, what we do is we put you in a position where you can actually take over market volatility and actually become a big hitter in the market that you're doing. We've done it already in Baltimore. We've done it in Chicago. We're on our way to doing it right now in Boston. We're doing it everywhere, man. And
Sure.
But more importantly, what we really like specify on is just we want a relationship with the client where you trust us, you know, because at the end of the day,
It's very important.
It's very important,
Yeah.
man. And a lot of companies I'm realizing they're just about the dollar. I tell my
More of
guys,
a transaction relationship.
exactly. I tell my guys all the time, the dollar and the money you make is not something to go after. It's a byproduct of doing things correctly. So the amount of money that you have is an evaluation of how you've done business. All right. If you do business very low and you're very straight to the money, because you know those type of people.
Of
like,
course,
just
yeah.
straight
they're
money.
I think they're in every industry.
Exactly. No
Yeah.
morals, no nothing. You know what I mean? Just I need money and everything. You will see that they won't be around long. We're not in this to be around long. I'm trying to build this to a point and be able to change not just my life, but the people that work with me that will sacrifice their life in order
Sure.
to go after something that is really important. And I want the client to understand that we are at bat. We don't do things 80%. We don't even
Sure.
do things 100%. We do things 150%, 200%.
Full on. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like I said, our resources are now your resources. We don't
Sure.
stop until we actually reach the goal.
Yeah.
All right. We're moving into different aspects. Retail. We're getting into telecommunications. We're getting into municipality aggregation for energy deregulation. We're getting into real estate. You know, we're getting
Sure.
into finances. There's so many aspects, you know, that we are actually trying to get into, but we have a proven track record too. Candid Consulting, this isn't just me, you know,
Sure.
and I want that to be known. All right, this isn't just, oh, I decided one day. No, I had a very, very supportive and loyal team, you know, and I have to thank them for that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you can't do things by yourself, man. You know, at the end of the day, there may be some things that I don't understand, or some things that, you know, like maybe Daquan, you know, our awesome cameraman, you know, maybe something that he knows, you know, we can actually put his opinion into play, because at the end of the day, we're a team, man. And that's what we offer to the clients.
Yeah.
Not just one person, a team. You know?
That's awesome. So next question. We have a lot of people that watch the show that are, just based on the demographics and research that we've done, they're either, and I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, that are kind of up and coming, either, you know, exploring getting into business and following us for that reason, or potentially considering starting their own business, or
that's awesome.
you know, doing well for themselves and looking to kind of take a further step, or just want to learn from entrepreneurs. So you've been in business for a little bit now.
Yeah.
What would you say, something like a piece of advice you could give to a new entrepreneur, of something to expect, something they wouldn't see coming, something to be prepared for, that can span across multiple industries, not just the world, that, like the bubble that we live in?
Definitely. Can I curse? Can I say? Don't half-ass it, man.
Yeah.
Give it everything you got. But
Yeah.
before you do that, you need to be really prepared for what you're about to get into. See, a lot of young entrepreneurs, they love the concept of the Ferraris, you know what I mean? The penthouses and the Rolls Royces and the
Sure.
thousands of dollars in the club. Like, they love that concept, but they're not seeing what it took to get there.
I think that's a good point. I think a lot of people see entrepreneurship as, I take the step, I incorporate the business, and then the Ferrari
It just comes
shows
right
up,
after.
and then
After I sign,
I
get
go
a
party
Ferrari.
with LeBron and then call it a day, and now I'm a business owner. You know?
Nah, man.
I mean, I wish.
If only it was that easy, man.
Sure.
You know, but
So being prepared for what you're about to get into.
yeah, dude, you have to be real, man. You have to know what you're getting into. All right? And then you need to really accept whether or not you're willing to do it.
Sure.
See, at the end of the day, I want you to realize one thing. I support all entrepreneurs, okay? We live in a capitalistic, like I said, society where we actually have the luxury where we can actually be poor growing up and die wealthy. But not
Sure.
just wealth, I'm talking about generational wealth, where it's like your kids have money. Not every country's like that, man. You know, there's communist countries where it says that you are gonna do this until you die.
Sure.
You know, there's people that don't even have the technology or the resources in order to actually be successful. By living in America, you're winning. You're winning. But the thing
that's
is,
half the battle.
Exactly. But if you're living in America, take advantage of the resources that you have. And that's what I would admit. All right. So first of all, I applaud all young entrepreneurs, and I would love to see more. And as
Yeah.
we get older, we're seeing that people are really starting
Yeah,
to get
absolutely.
into that aspect. All right. Second thing is, you need to know how passionate you're gonna have to be. You need to figure out what motivates you.
In terms of level of commitment.
Yes, because when things get hard, like and I'm glad to say this now because I'm not anymore. But at one point, I was homeless. You know, like I was literally. Like this is crazy, you know, because it's just I just think about how far we've come. Like, but it was at one point, man, that like I was getting pocket change out of the couch to get
Sure.
$2 pizza rolls at Walgreens, bro. You know, like where I'm jumping the line to get onto the train, which I do not recommend anybody doing. You know
That's
what
an old
I mean?
skateboard trick.
You know what I mean? You know, because I don't have
You
the
were prepared
money.
based on your skateboard.
Yeah, you know, but like I didn't have money to get on the train, man. You know, and like I remember those, but you know what kept me going though? Was my will and my motivation, like why I was doing this. It's temporary.
Yeah.
That's what I always used to tell myself. It's temporary. All right? It's temporary. It's temporary. It's temporary. Now we have 4 offices across the country, you know? And even this aspect right now, this is temporary because the next
Sure.
thing's ready to come. And the thing is, like, you need to figure out exactly what's going to motivate you in those times, you know? Because everything's easy when it's going good. You know, when things are running like a
Sure.
well-oiled machine, yeah.
Everybody's on your team. People
Yeah,
chasing
bro,
you down.
you know, but like,
No worries.
you know, like, you got to keep the motivation, like what truly motivates you. You need to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, bro. You need to figure out what it's gonna take in order for you to really be successful and attack it like a pit bull, bro.
Yeah.
All right, because this isn't about you anymore. When you enter entrepreneurship, this is no longer about you. This is about what you're about to leave behind. This is about the people that are on your payroll that have really committed their life to getting this company going. You know, like
that's definitely a turning point. That's definitely a turning point,
man.
When you start out as an entrepreneur and it's just you doing your thing, trying to get things going, there's obviously a level of commitment that you have to have gotten that far.
Yeah.
You put somebody on the payroll, things change
yes,
pretty quickly.
Drastically,
I think that's something that not a lot of entrepreneurs are thinking will be as dramatic as it is.
Yeah, man. That's a bro. Like that's a big.
Yeah.
You know, like you're talking about people's livelihoods, not even about you. You know, you need to be willing to another bit of advice. You need to be willing to sacrifice what you truly believe in, or not believe in, what you would think you need.
Yeah.
For the greater good. See, that's where a lot of them get stuck, bro.
Right.
A lot of them get stuck. You know, I only have $50 right now, but I gotta pay. Oh, I'm sorry, that's $50 is very little. I only have $400 right now to my name, right? But my admin needs to get paid, and she's $350, $400 or whatever, right? Are you willing to give her that $400, or are you willing to kind of just do some other stuff? And that's where a lot of people get fallen. They say, "Oh man, I need to spend less money. I need to." And when you're at that aspect in the beginning of entrepreneurship, you've already lost. You need to realize that when you get into business, you're not gonna make money the first 3 years. You're gonna see a lot of money coming. If you're successful, bro, and your product actually works and you have a good clientele, you're gonna see money coming in. You're gonna see a lot of money coming in, more than you've probably ever seen, right? If done correctly.
Sure.
It takes another type of person to be like, you know what, hey, this is more money I've ever seen. Let me put it in my pocket real quick. No, you need to realize that you're not gonna make money the first 3 years. You need to make sure you reinvest at least 85% of your profit back into your business in order for your business to thrive. Because the margins that you're making money right now are nothing.
Sure.
All right? I've seen payrolls up to $30,000, $40,000, bro. It made nothing off of them. Not that I didn't make any money, reinvest the profit back into the company, you know? And that's the difference between a person that does this correctly and a person that's just in it, like we said before, the money hungry individuals, you know? And that is very important to understand, you know, very important. You're not gonna get the Ferrari in the beginning, bro. But if you do this correctly, you can get a Bugatti. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And you can get your wife a Bugatti and your kids a Bugatti. You know, don't get caught up in a little short-term success that you've seen, you know? It just shows that you're doing things the correct way.
It kind of goes back to tunnel vision like you talked about, staying focused on whatever you see as the greater good or the end game, so to say.
Exactly, man. It's not about what's right now, it's about the future.
Yeah.
When you get into entrepreneurship, you're not thinking about right now, you're thinking about later.
Yeah.
You know, and that is very important to understand.
Yep, absolutely, man. Well, this has been awesome. A lot of gems. A lot of gems and a lot of quotes to digest and for people to take home here.
Definitely.
Well, cool, man. Well, I think we can wrap. I don't have any more questions. This was awesome.
Definitely.
I would say, you know, if I'm out there and I want to get in touch with you, how can I pull it off?
You can find us on Facebook. We're social media. Our handle is facebook.com/Cannon Consulting Services. You can find us on Instagram. You can see me on Instagram, handle CEO_CCS. Okay. You can also find us on every social media platform. You know, I'll also, if you don't mind putting,
we'll put links in the
that would
comments.
Be nice.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I just want to say, like, first of all, thank you for bringing me on here.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
No, definitely, bro.
Yeah.
You came all the way to Baltimore.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Talk to me. Like I said, you are a good friend. You know,
appreciate it, man.
Personally and also business-wise. But more importantly, man, I'm really excited to see what you guys actually accomplish.
Yeah.
You know, because you guys have a crazy team yourself, man. Like,
sure, we do.
Very tenacious, a lot of
great
tenacity.
People.
You know,
I've
seen Tim, Bill, Jason. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are gems, man. You know, and I'm so glad that we're able to do business together, or, you know, what. And I'm really, excited to see what you guys actually do in the future, man.
Well, it's mutual, man. I definitely appreciate it. Well, episode 6 in the books.
Definitely.
Cheers, man.
Definitely. Cheers.
312 Chicago.
312 Chicago.
Thanks for hanging out,
guys. We need an endorsement.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.